This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're here to talk about Quincy Concepcion and go look at one of his games versus LSU. The reason I highlighted this one, there's a couple of reps where he's going up against Mansour Delane, who is the number 6 pick in the draft. So you get to see him up against a quality opponent. And I think this game gives you a good range of information of what the upside case for Quincy Concepcion is, and I think just being able to understand that, what the Browns see, what the vision is, kind of helps you put together what the vision is going to be for this wide receiver room. So there's a ton to get into. There's a ton of tape to break down. So before we get into it, got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. So let's jump into it. Quincy Concepcion breakdown. We're going to run the play first, and then we're going to review here. So what we're going to see is Quincy Concepcion on the outside. This is a mesh route. Catches it, gets the first down. Let's run it back to try to break things down a little bit. So this Quincy Concepcion, he's just running the mesh, right? So there's a drag and an over on the mesh. Basically, if it's man, you take Quincy Concepcion here. It is man. And then they have a over on this, ran by 17. And I imagine if he feels zone, he sits in that area. So they run this. It's a good release by Quincy Concepcion here, right? Doesn't let his DB get hands on him, even though this is man coverage. So let's watch the feet. So jump start, boom, to an explosive place. Doesn't really waste a ton of time in his route, too, which I like about him a lot. A lot of guys give you a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of theatrics in their routes. I like this route, all right? It's a basic route, clean, runs it, cuts it off flat here. The depth is correct, too, so you see where they're angling this. Wide receivers will have landmarks that they try to hit. So for number 3 over here, right, he's coming into motion late. I imagine his landmark's about right here. Try to run under, while Quincy Concepcion's probably going to be asked to turn this out around there. And they do a great job executing this, so the spacing is good. We saw last year one of the tall tale signs of a bad wide receiver room, which the Browns did have last year, is when plays are being ran, but the spacing is terrible, right? There were a couple of guys, like Gage Larvin ran some pretty bad routes last year where you're like looking at the spacing on the play and you're like, where in the world do you think you're supposed to be? This one, a lot cleaner, right? Good route, explodes, opens his hips early, and then you see number 3 who's guarding him. It's a hard time chasing. And then, bam, this is exactly what you want right here. He runs Mansour, who's trying to come across the field here because I think he's trying to attack the flat. Yeah. He's trying to attack he's trying to attack this wheel. So Mansour tags this wheel, so mesh rail, and tries to get to it. Right there, that's the legal pick here, right? That's the conflict you're aiming for, man. Coverage, you got it. He's trying to come down to the flat. He's trying to guard Casey Concepcion. Casey Concepcion then gets that natural pick there. Only thing I don't like about this catch right here, we'll zoom in. Don't love how he lets this get into his body. Would love it for him to catch it with his hands so that he can more quickly open his hips and get upfield, right? So you see with him trying to catch this in his belly with his body, one, that leads to more, ricochet opportunities where the ball could ricochet out of there. And then when you're running a route like this over the middle of the field, and look, KC runs a lot of routes over the middle of the field, this could easily turn into a interception, right? Because it ricochets off of your body, has some kind of unpredictable flip, and then number 3, who's trailing behind, is able to track it and catch it. So would love for him to pluck this ball out the air instead of receive it to his chest, right? So that's one thing I would like to see him do. Also, notice how when he lets it get into his belly, what that does to his lower half, right? You see how that takes him off his line? He has to kind of do a little giddy up and then reset and then re-explode, where he could have caught that ball with his hands and then just started to explode simultaneously with the catch. I think he would have gotten some extra yards out of this if that'd be the case. Instead, he kind of lets number 3 close the distance enough to stop him after about 5-6 yards. So still a good play, right? Still some room to grow, as any prospect would have. And I do wonder, where else we're going to see that in this game. So let's go watch here. All right, so he wide butt booty naked open on this one. Oh, my goodness. They just did not get the ball to him. All right, so we're going to see Casey Concepcion in the slot. Some of you might not have caught it, so again, going to highlight them, let it play so you guys can see what happens here. Whoo! Goodness gracious. All right, so watch the release. Swims over. This is a 9, right? There's no cuts to this. This is just straight up 9. So he's just running a 9, right? Gets a really good, clean release on this one. So you see here, he catches his DB flat-footed, punching, just swims around him, and just gets a nice, clean release upfield. Now, I'm pretty sure he doesn't get the ball here because he's not, like, I'd imagine he's running this 9 here in combination with what they're running with number 3. So I imagine this is over and 9, and the window that they're trying to hit here is here. But then Marcel Reed rolls out. I don't know what Marcel doing. I can't tell what he doing. He confuses me sometimes. But I imagine that's what they were trying to hit. And if that's a 9 on some kind of like modified dagger concept, you're not supposed to throw it. But it's a hell of a release and hell of burst right here. Now, the only thing that makes me think this isn't that is the fact that Casey Concepcion ran that shit at full speed. Usually you see the 9s on dagger concepts or dagger-like concepts. They don't run on full speed. So maybe this is like some kind of seam shot, something. He also doesn't get his head around. What are they running here? So Reed, this has to be some kind of play action. So because Reed, look at Reed, he rolls out almost immediately. Let me look at the protection here to try to diagnose this. What's the protection? Full slide with a running back. And okay, so they're definitely rolling that by design. Oh, okay. So it's probably like some kind of levels with the 9 here. He's open. You get the safety with his hips turned this way. So if you throw this one down that way, it's going to be hard for him to adjust to that. He's dusted right here. Good release. Whether he gets the ball or not, that's more of an evaluation for Marcel Reed than it is for KC Concepcion. What we're really evaluating here with KC is this right here, right? In, out. Look at the in, out, right? In, out. Look at his hand, too. Like a boxer, right? Times his hand, gives his candy to look at, catches the DB looking at the candy, and then boom. Clean, right? Hand over back. Oh, shit, I'm beat. That's really nice. That's really nice from KC. Good job there. And then look at the speed, too. I don't know what his 40 time is, but his burst is pretty. I mean, like, look at that burst right there. From when he gets that release to when he gets going. Look how much space he creates between him and that DB. And then, look, A.J. Halsey tries to get his hips around because he's like, oh, shit, the 9 is wide open in the middle of the field. So he tries to go and guard it, and that shit would have been touchdown. We're not evaluating Marcel Reed, though. We evaluating KC Concepcion. All right, KC Concepcion going to go in a little bit of a motion here. A little bit of a whip route. So you motion them over. This is so the quarterback can see, right? This is basically one of those plays where it's like you're trying to tell your quarterback to look at this triangle right here. You give them that motion so you can get the indicator if it's man-to-man. So you get a man-to-man indicator. The reason you want the man-to-man indicator is what he's running is called a man beater. It's a whip route. So he's going to be running. Oops, sorry. Having a hard time with my tool today. Just a little whip route, right? So you see how he gets in, out, boom. You're running the kind of legal pick here too. This is borderline pass interference because Bottender, the tight end, basically blocks him. Like that's, you could get flagged on that. That's a little bit too obvious. But yeah, he's running this route to clear space, right? If they see a man. I wonder if the way that they're reading this too is that if you get the man indicator, you take that and then they have somebody kind of hooking over the ball if it's zone. So it's like man, zone, one half of the field. You read this triangle here because it's really a run read play. Yeah. Because even that route, that's so that he could block for KC Concepcion once he gets the ball in his hands. So this is purely designed to get KC the ball in his hands on this side. This ball kind of thrown off target. KC has to kind of get back up for it. Does a great job making a man miss and getting back upfield. So good job organizing for chaos. Yeah, a little basic concept just to get KC the ball. Dynamic athlete like this, you just want to give him the ball in space, and this is what kind of plays you put in to do something like that, right? This is the end zone angle so we can see him put in that work. Look at that cut right there. Whew. Look at that. So off the pirouette and then the cut right off of that. Nice stuff there. All right, KC Concepcion is at the bottom of your screen right here in this matchup. A little off coverage. This is a middle field route. He's wide open. He don't get the ball here. It looks like this is some kind of half field defense. So a combination here. Because it looks like number 3 is playing cover 3. But if you look at the other side of the defense, I don't know, it might just be cover 3. Yeah, it's just cover 3. So zone look here, zone beater. You're attacking the void in space here. What are they running? They got a whip route here for man coverage. A post here. I'm assuming that's for if they see quarters or specific quarters look. And then the route KC is running for cover 3. Reason this route bangs versus cover 3, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? You get 3. Where's my mouse? You get 3 safeties to drop back, right? Well, not 3 safeties all the time, but 3 corners to drop back. Where's the natural void going to be, right? When he comes down, linebackers, they're sharing the middle, and then he comes down. When you see this, what's the natural void? The natural voids in the field are right here. So that's the space you want to attack. So when you're running a route like this is going to be the 3 beater, right? So he's the 3 beater here. They show a 1 high look. Well, where are they showing to start? Yeah, they show somewhat of a 1 high look and then move late into that 3 shell. What's Marcel looking at? What does he think it is? I think he thinks it's cover 4 because he looking straight at that post. Then what does he work back to? He just starts running. Yeah, so I think he thinks it's some kind of 4 look. But, yeah, this is a zone beater. You run zone beaters. Just a little bit different than you run man beaters, right? Because you run running with patience. It's about timing in zone coverage. You don't want to get to a spot too early. Casey does a good job stemming this one out. Straight here. Kind of goes inside to get that corner to turn his hip. So you see how he does a couple steps. Like he's going to break it off right here. The DB bites up and back out. Right when he engages, back out. Probably zone, so you can do a little bit of a more rounded cut to this because you're, again, trying to hit spaces, voids, and time. It's not like winning man-on-man where it's about, like, crispness and smooth and quickness, right? So you create the distance. That's what matters. He's in the void right there when the quarterback gets on his back foot. He just didn't read it right, so he didn't get the ball to him. It's pretty simple read here for your quarterback. But he couldn't get the ball here. He was wide, but booty naked open, though. So KC did his part. And again, sometimes people will point out somebody's open but not look at the timing of it. You want to time this up to the quarterback's back step here. And right here is exactly where you want him to be because you can see the hips on 3 are going, look at the direction of the hips here. Number 3's hips are pulling him in this direction. He's already starting to drive off that foot. So if you're on your back foot, if you're the quarterback here, you should know, recognize, and then get that ball out, throw it to a landmark so he can catch it in stride and go upfield, and that's going to be a big play for you. So, yeah, this is on the quarterback, in my opinion. Yeah, it's exactly where it needs to be. I mean, the pocket ain't even nasty on him. Look at this shit. The pocket ain't even nasty. I don't know what he doing. All right. All right. Casey Concepcion here in the slot. As you guys notice, he moves around quite a bit. Some wide snaps, some slot snaps. I wouldn't pigeonhole him to just a slot guy. He's going to play a variation of both slot and wide, same as Jerry Jeudy. Nice little route here. He gets open again. They throw it to him late. He has to kind of make a crazy catch on it. Good job by him. One of the criticisms of Casey Concepcion is like at the catch point, he tends to do unnecessary shit. And you could definitely see it at this video. That there's some times where he does do unnecessary stuff. Right here. Again, this is zone route. It's a good job of selling that. right? You want to sell whatever you're trying to sell here. Does a good job of selling it. That's why this corner sits on it. He's flat. He's sitting on that. He's selling it inside, and then he breaks that up north. So boom, right there. Good sell. Corner opens up his hips. Nobody tags it. You got the space right there in the void. Ball should be out, but there's a little bit of chaos for the quarterback, so he can't see it right now. Quarterback sees it a little bit late. By the time he sees it, it's kind of in danger. And I like that he attacked that one. So good job coming up and attacking that ball. Right? Didn't really wait for it to get into his chest. Went up and attacked that one with his hands, right? So that's exactly what I meant by pluck the ball instead of let the ball get to your gut or trap the ball in your stomach, right? Go up, pluck, secure immediately. That's actually really nice right there. So run it back one more time. Casey in the slot. Nice sell up. I mean, that ball should be out, but there's pressure. I think that's Crown over. That gets beat pretty badly. Throws that up. It could be dangerous if he lets it sit to him. Does a good job of attacking it. All in all, nice play by. All right, let's see KC in the red zone a little bit here at the bottom of your screen. Really nice release. Doesn't finish this one. So let's walk through it, right? Yeah, he's quick. He's super quick here. So he breaks down this one. Sells, boom, with the foot. Gets his DB to bite. And then does a great job of like slapping the hand down too. Watch that. Watch that. Bam. We'll zoom in on it so you guys can get a better look. But this is a good job here. See how he grabs that hand and swipes it? See what that does to the DB? It makes him trail. Really nice job there. And then gets across field. This one's off target, yeah. Little bit behind. It's certainly a tough catch. Do you want to see your first round wide receiver come down with these? In most cases, yes. That's definitely a catchable ball, though. Unless it got tipped by that DB, by Halsey there, because it does look like Halsey gets a hand on it. That could have made it a lot more difficult to catch than maybe we're seeing it with the raw eye. And it's not like the technique is terrible. Sometimes like his hands look a little weird when he's trying to, like he kind of like claps at the ball instead of, because they want you to bring it in like that, not like try to clap at the ball. Sometimes he does do like a little clap technique instead of clamping on the ball. I think that might have got him here. All right, let's go here. All right, it's another one where he's open. He ain't get the ball. All right, so he's dealing with the big cushion here on this route. Top of your screen. And this is just showcasing his explosion, his speed. I believe that's Delane that he just ran right by. Yeah, it's the lane that he just runs by there, right? Opens up his hips and just runs right past the lane. Showing a little bit of KC Concepcion blocking here on the edge. Good stuff. Nice effort. It's really all you can ask for from your wide receivers is just make sure you put in the effort. It's good to see there. All right, and the last play we're going to watch from KC Concepcion. another one where he's on Mansour Dulane. Mansour tries to like trap him. You see Mansour got them long ass arms. Tries to kind of just get hands on him, slow down his release. I think he does a good job of getting free here. He kind of engages again because he's trying to create that separation. I think that was a mistake. I think he had him at this point. He just needs to open his hip and explode. Maybe Mansour forced the issue there with the hand on his back. That's a nice little rep there. I didn't want to show you guys anything like too spectacular or like, one of the games where he has a million drops. I wanted to show you something more more reflective of who he is as a player, right? There's going to be some drop stuff that pops up or some plays where you would have wished he caught it. Like a lot of things we call drops aren't really drops. They're just plays where we would like the wide receiver to catch the ball. But officially it's not going to be recorded as a drop. It's always why drop numbers feel overwhelming whenever you hear somebody has drop issues and you're like, well, he only has 6 drops. That's not recording all of the plays that like people would consider drop adjacent when you're watching the games live. So there's certainly going to be some of that there. He has to adjust his technique, especially when it comes to like how he attacks the football. I think that's his biggest issue is some inconsistency with how he attacks the football. Sometimes he lets it get to his body. Sometimes he claps at it instead of clamp. Like, sometimes like his technique to catching it is a little off. But it does seem like when he's catching off instinct, right, when things are happening quick and he can't think about it, he does seem to have the right technique then. So I think this is just a matter of practice for him. Something that he can get on the jugs machine and fix over time. But that's Casey Concepcion's breakdown. Let me know what you guys think of him in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.